What is going on, everybody? ZyoniK here, and in today's video we are trying out the new Seismitoad with Icy Wind and the updated Earth Power along with Guzzlord and Empoleon. And this team, I just want to say, first of all, played extremely well for me, and also visually it just goes so well together with that blue and black style. I love when a team looks good and plays good, but let me know what you guys think about this team, what you guys think about the Seismitoad updates. Is it a mud boy that you guys are going to now bring into your team more often as we continue deeper into the season with this new meta? Alright, getting into the first battle, we have Seismitoad on the lead versus Kingdra right here. So Kingdra also got the updates as well, and we're going to be looking to go for that Icy Wind. And with Mud Shot as well, Seismitoad can get to charge moves pretty quickly. This is actually a really nice setup for Seismitoad in terms of the fast and charge moves, as the Swift does connect. We're going to go ahead and go for Icy Wind here. This is going to do some great neutral damage and lower that attacks of the Dragon Breaths aren't going to be as devastating here, but we should be able to go for Earth Power now. Charge move now coming through. It's likely going to be the Swift once again, but we should be able to survive thanks to the Icy Wind debuff, and sure enough we do. This is going to allow us to get to Earth Power now and look to force that first shield of this game or get a switch advantage, which if it does, I can utilize Seismitoad later on as a sacrificial swap. So we're going to see if we can actually get to the Icy Wind, but no, the Empoleon is able to farm us down. So unfortunately, we're going to be coming into the mirror match behind on energy but slightly ahead on health thanks to the Mud Shot damage. Now we go for Hydro Cannon here, and I believe this was CMP tie, so we are able to connect and land it, and I'm gonna have to keep my Empoleon relatively healthy in order to potentially win this game. So I'm gonna shield that Hydro Cannon, and they actually swap out into Ninetales, so I'm gonna swap now into Guzzlord. And what I found in today's sets is Guzzlord is so strong into a lot of Pokemon that we see. Most commonly going to be that Ninetales, because it is that dragon, it's bulky, it's going to be resisting those moves, and with Wigglytuff kind of out of the meta right now, you don't have to fear Charm as much as you used to when it was much more popular. Now still, you got to look out for Tinkatons and Shadow Alolan's Ninetales, but overall, this is looking pretty good for us, and we're in a good position here to still potentially win this game. So we're going to go ahead and let the charge move go through. This is really coming down to the wire. And now I'm going to be forced to look to swap into Empoleon here. I'm hoping I could get the metal sound through before the charge move comes through. But unfortunately, I do go down. Empoleon comes back in, but we have double charge moves on our Guzzlord, which is really important here in this matchup, as two Brutal Swings might be able to win the game for us, as they're going to have to go for double Hydro Cannon here in order to take us out. But even then, it might not be enough damage, because remember, in this battle we chipped a lot of health with Mud Shot. So now it is going to come down to the stats, the IVs of our Pokemon, and I am able to survive with 2 HP right there and a dream as we go for the Hydro Cannon, now forcing the final shield of this game. We have 2 Brutal Swings ready to go, almost 3 there, so we're gonna go ahead and throw the first one. This is gonna be getting the knockout there, and that is gonna be a good battle. Very well played. I believe we almost hit. We had a lot of energy. Yeah, good battle. Alright, moving to the next one, we have Credilli on the lead. So we're going to be swapping out into Empoleon, and this is looking to be like a pretty decent situation until they swap into Tinkaton to catch the charge move. And I just should have known better. I shouldn't have thrown right away, so now I'm very far behind in this matchup against Tinkaton. So I'm going to have to play this a bit carefully, as now they're going to be going for Bulldoze here. It's going to be doing super effective damage, but not that much, and I should be able to still get to 2 Hydro Cannons as long as we can survive the next Bulldoze. That's going to be the call here. But Hydro Cannon is able to connect, does a considerable amount of damage, and now this is going to come down to, can we survive? And I think we can, so we're going to go ahead and let it go, and sure enough, we do survive, and we are able to get off the Hydro Cannon to look to force switch advantage, which is pretty huge for us in this mid-game matchup, considering we threw a Drill Peck into it earlier. So we do get the switch advantage. The Credilli comes back in. We can bring in our Guzzlord now and keep the Seismitoad away, which it doesn't want to see those grass knots, right? It is still a mud boy. So now we're going to be seeing most likely the Rock Tomb coming through right here, which is going to do a decent amount of damage, but not enough to one-shot us. We do get that attack drop, so we're not going to be doing as much damage here with Brutal Swing or the Dragon Tails, which is really what Guzzlord needs to do in these matchups, but we do get a shield. And that, I think, is pretty huge for us right now, is obviously they want to stay in here. They want to be going for Rock Tombs over and over. But what I have to do now is actually swap out into Seismitoad. This is so counterintuitive, but I need to keep Guzzlord alive with energy to clear the debuff from Rock Tomb. And now they're going for Grass Knots here. So what we're going to do is we're going to go for Icy Wind. And my hope is that the Icy Wind obviously connects. That'd be great if it can land. But if it gets shielded, which they didn't, they let it go. But now we have a cast form in the back, a Sunny cast form. And you and I both know what's about to happen or what they want to do. They want to Solar Beam us, right? Sunny cast form has access to Solar Beam and Weather Ball. So we're going to swap into Guzzlord now on the charge move, hoping that we can survive the Solar Beam. So let's see if we do. Oh no, we go down. Seismitoad now needs to carry me so hard. I got to load up on all the energy in the world. I go for Earth Power right here to get the knockout. And this obviously is going to be doing plenty of damage to the cast form, but I was one fast move away from the next charge move there. And so thankfully, the Credilli didn't have energy, so I was able to throw Icy Wind, but almost a miscalculation. But good battle right there. Sunny cast form. Ooh. All right, moving into the next battle, we have Seismitoad versus Altaria on the lead. Now, typically, Mud Boys struggle against Flyers, especially Altaria, unless you have that Stone Edge or what have you. But Icy Wind is, Mudshot and Icy Wind is like, all right, Altaria, thanks for playing. We're going to go ahead and go for the Icy Wind. Now, it does a considerable amount of damage. I'm going to go ahead and swap into Empoleon here to try to soak the energy, because odds are if you have the Altaria there, you could have something that's weak to ground in the back, so I wanted to keep it alive, and they do go for Flamethrower, and we do have the Skeletors that comes out. So this is going to be the Pokemon that is weak to ground, but thankfully it's also weak to water. So we're able to go for Hydro Cannons here, and they do decide to shield, and then we go for the next one, but they go for an Incinerate. So I believe that was 3 there that they got. So we do get the double shield, which is great. But Guzzlord can come in, and bringing in the Guzzlord here still has me concerned. The Disarming Voice, right, is a real threat, and that's Shadow Ball. So my guess is they wouldn't throw Shadow Ball and then Disarming Voice, so maybe they have Torch Song. But either way, I am not going to risk it for the biscuit and just no shield a Guzzlord in a situation like this. So obviously, I have to give up the second Protect Shield, and it is in fact Torch Song. So that is fine. We can now farm down. We're going to have plenty of energy. We still have Seismitoad in the back, and they decide to bring in Typhlosion. So this is a really good situation for us, as the Thunder Punch is likely coming through right here. I believe it was 2 Incinerates. So yeah, Thunder Punch going to be thrown, which doesn't do anything. We have the Brutal Swing ready to go. So everything is looking very good. Remember that Altaria is relatively low. And yeah, this is going to be a good game. So I'm going to go ahead and go for the next Brutal Swing, taking out the Typhlosion. And then Altaria should be able to go down to Dragon Tails alone right here, or just another Brutal Swing if I get to it in time, which I do. So that is going to be a good battle. Guzzlord looking really strong, right? Right now, from what I've seen so far in the meta, is there hasn't been a lot of Charmers. The only Charmer that I've really seen was the Alolan Ninetales. And we have Empoleon to help handle that. All right, moving to the next battle, we have Seismitoad on the lead versus Kingdra once again. So this matchup, obviously that Icy Wind is going to be nice, but they will outpace us right away as they get to the Swift right here. So that's okay. It's not going to do too much damage as we've seen earlier, so we can just go ahead and no shield on the lead and then look to go for Icy Wind. Now, what we're going to notice right here is after this Icy Wind, they actually decide to shield. So I'm going to go ahead and swap out, and they swap out at the exact same time. Now, my thought there was they decided to shield because they're actually really concerned about Seismitoad. So I want to keep it alive, and I can safely bring in Empoleon in a 2-to-1 shield advantage, right? And in a situation like this against Hypno, obviously, it's a huge positive win for me as I can easily shield a Thunder Punch. And even then, I don't have to worry about a Thunder Punch being basically landing, right? Because it's not going to one-shot. It's definitely not a Shadow Hypno, which would one-shot. So I can actually let this go if I want to right here. Or I could safely shield, but I decided to let it go. Thunder Punch is not going to knock me out. And they decide to swap back out into Kingdra. So I'm going to go ahead and go for Drill Peck here, as this will do quite a bit of neutral damage. But I could swap out as well, and we're going to look to do that and go into the Guzzlord. So now the Guzzlord is going to be able to fully farm down. I'm going to go ahead and give up a Protect Shield here. There's a lot of damage that Swift can do, but it was outrage. So thankfully I shielded right there. I was just respecting the Swift damage. I was like, okay, I need to have plenty of health here on Guzzlord. I'm going to have so much energy that we should be fine. The Hypno is really low, and the Hypno comes back in. And I'm like, okay, so what is in the back? Like, what's back there that is so scared of this Guzzlord? We go ahead and go for Brutal Swing, and sure enough, it was actually a Grumpig. So we're going to go for double Brutal Swing here, and that is going to be a good game. Guzzlord really going to town in this meta for me so far this week, or in these sets that I've done. And I've always loved Guzzlord as a Pokemon for the Great League. It's such a cool dragon, and yeah, good battle right there. It does great in that Jellicent as well, which is pretty popular. Alright, moving into the next battle, we have Seismitoad on the lead versus Cradily once again. So we will be swapping into the Empoleon, but this time it is going to be Bullet Seed. But our Metal Sound Fast Move is doing a lot, and we do see the Jellicent swap in here. So we're going to go ahead and go for Drill Peck now for that neutral damage. But the Cradily does have a good amount of energy, so that's going to come in a bit dicey later on. So they didn't chip and dip, so to say. So now we do have Shadow Ball coming through, so I'm actually going to Protect Shield here. I don't want them to throw the Shadow Ball, maybe undercharge it, and then farm down aggressively, right, with Hex. So I want them to be forced to throw the KO, and we do get a shield as well, so we go into the ones. And so here a Shadow Ball should be able to take us out if they just throw it normally. So we're going to go ahead and let it go, and that will knock us out. And now we can bring in Guzzlord and really start to load up on some energy here, and they do decide to swap into Altaria. So I go for Brutal Swing to do a little chip and dip, but looking back at this, maybe I should have just held the energy. But Seismitoad now is going to be coming in. So this is still looking okay for us, as the Icy Wind is going to do a lot of damage. Basically, in a previous matchup that we saw, it can knock out the Altaria from this health range. So we're going to overload a ton on energy, knowing we can get the knockout here, and then look to see how we can close this game out, as we still have one shield remaining and plenty of energy. So Altaria does go down, and then we will see if the Cradily comes back in, but no, it's going to be the Jellicent. So we're going to throw the Earth Power right away just to try to get that Jellicent out of that. I don't want any shenanigans with Surf or none of that right now. We swap into Guzzlord now into the Cradily, and the reason why I did this obviously is, one, I don't want to get farmed down, and two, I'm going to have to clear the Rock Tomb debuff in order to win this game. So now I'm going to have to go for Brutal Swing here in order to do some chip damage and also delay that switch timer, which is so important. And they do decide to shield, so that is huge for me. Absolutely huge for me. So now I have an opportunity based on the timers right here where I can swap in and look to go for the I can swap in and basically try to catch the charge move while also maintaining energy here on Guzzlord. So that's what I'm going to do. I'm going to load up the Sludge Bomb and then swap. And sure enough, we catch the Rock Tomb right here, which is huge. My opponent is going to go ahead and do no damage with it basically, so that they can farm me down. And I don't have enough energy there to get a charge move off, but I do have the Sludge Bomb ready to go. So I'm going to go for the Dragon Tail and then go for Sludge Bomb here. This should be enough damage to knock out, as it is a neutral, and that is going to be a good game. Very well played. All right, moving to the next one, we have Seismitoad on the lead versus Corsola. So this is going to be, I mean, Corsola, this team can handle it, but it is quite annoying here on the lead because Astonish is just doing so much. So we're going to try to soften it up here with the Icy Wind, allowing us to tank some of those Nightshades a bit better. but ultimately I may want to keep my Seismitoad alive for later on. So we might do a little delayed chip and dip, so to say, as we will go for Earth Power after loading up a bit on extra energy. But Seismitoad can really do a lot for us in the late game to absorb some damage, and I love having a sacrificial swap. So we're going to go ahead and swap into the Empoleon now. With an Icy Wind debuff, I'm not too worried about a Nightshade damage, and since they're throwing the charge move here, it's obviously less energy on their side, but they do swap in to Stunfisk now. So we're going to go ahead and go for the Hydro Cannon. What's great here in this situation, even though this is a bad matchup in the typings, we can fire right back, which is really awesome as we go for another one in time. And this is fantastic for us because now this gets us either the 3-to-1 Pokemon advantage or the 2-to-1 shield advantage. So there's no point now in shielding this, so I'm just going to go ahead and let it go, as Discharge will take me out. But I can come in with Guzzlord and load up on energy and maybe look to swap into the Seismitoad to try to catch a charge move. But again, we don't know what's in the back, but from what I've seen, right, with all the Cordillies, all the debuffs that are kind of going around, I have to respect that debuff clear. So now I decided to go for Brutal Swing. Looking back at that, I could have maybe fully farmed down right there. Just looking at that, that probably was maybe a better play, but that's okay. We go with it, and we do see Fearow in the back. No, Fearow is a Pokemon that I really have no experience against. I've seen it a few times, and I'm excited to try it out myself because it is such a cool Pokemon. But we both swap at the same time, and I unfortunately don't get the farm down right there. And they get to a charge move. And the thing is, this could be Power Gem, but I decided to let it go. It was Power Gem, so that's an incredible amount of damage. And now this Fearow, all they have to do is get to 2 charge moves in order to win. And yeah, that is going to be a good game. So I have to shield, but they have back-to-back Drill Pecks. So yeah, unfortunately, slight misplays on my end. Definitely could have had more energy coming out of the Stunfisk matchup, so I didn't have to worry about all this. But yeah, good battle to my opponent. All right, moving into the next one, we have Seismitoad on the lead versus Shadow Alolan Ninetales. So this is going to be the Powder Snow variant. So still a nightmare to deal with, but not as bad as Charm into Guzzlord, right? So we're going to go ahead and let the Weather Ball go through. We're going to look to go for Earth Power here. This does a considerable amount of damage since it's neutral, and they may not shield it. And then we can swap into Empoleon right here to try to catch the charge move and get a fast move through, which is huge. Now this is getting them low, and they're basically out of energy in this situation, and they do decide to swap into Quagsire. So we're going to go ahead and go for the Hydro Cannon here. Obviously in the Quagsire matchup, we have to be concerned about that Mud Bomb. But overall, we can still put a lot of pressure here. And I thought to myself, because I lost the count, I'm like, this felt a bit quick, but I'm going to shield anyways. And sure enough, it was just an Aqua Tail. So that is unfortunate on my side. I thought maybe it was a Mud Bomb, but yeah. We're going to go ahead and go for Hydro Cannon now. This will get the shield from our opponent. And now I'm trying to swap back out into Seismitoad, hoping that they didn't throw, but unfortunately they did, so I have to let it go. But it is going to be just an Aqua Tail. So we're going to go into Guzzlord now and look to go for the farm down. And they actually swap into their own Guzzlord. And we are ahead on energy. So what we can do here is basically go for 2 Sludge Bombs in order to win this. So I'm going to go ahead and Protect Shield. Obviously my Empoleon into their Alolan Ninetales is totally fine, and their Quagsire is extremely low. So as long as I can go for this back-to-back Sludge Bomb, we should be okay. And we are going to be able to go for it right here on a charge attack priority against my opponent. We see the back. It's always so interesting when you see the camera views like this. But Sludge Bomb is able to take him out. We do see Alolan Ninetales come back in, and we do get the farm down, and then the Quagsire is going to go down to Brutal Swing. So Guzzlord really carrying some games for me today, which is always nice. It's such a solid Pokemon to have, and a good battle to my opponent. All right, moving into the next battle, we have Seismitoad on the lead versus Shadow Mightyena. So Mightyena having that Sucker Punch, Crunch, and Poison Fang can be a bit hard to handle if you're running some ghost type Pokemon, right? The Sucker Punch can really start to add up, and if you're running the Fairy as well, Yeah, good luck with the Poison Fang debuffs. But we are going to go ahead and look to shield this first one. It is going to be the Crunch, as they also decided to shield themselves. So that was a bit interesting. But we can go for Earth Power now, and they actually swap into Fortress. This is perfect because the Fortress takes quite a bit of neutral damage from Earth Power, and this is actually a Volt Switch Fortress, which is even better because now I'm going to be able to get to the Earth Power in time and just knock it out or get the 1-0 shield. Both are fine by me. We get the full knockout, so Fortress is off the field, and Polion is very happy right now as we do have the Mightyena come back in. So we're going to bring in that Guzzlord now since it's going to be resisting the Sucker Punches. Poison Fang is going to land, and that could start to add up, but thankfully we have the ability to clear those debuffs when we swap out into our Empoleon. And sure enough, they have something so weak to Empoleon, you just love to see it. It's going to be the Carbink, which is just, I mean, Metal Sound is putting in work, as you guys can see. So we're going to go ahead and go for Hydro Cannon. This game is very over, but yeah, unfortunately for my opponent, I had some great answers to their Pokemon, and yeah, good battle right there. All right, moving into the next one, we have Seismitoad on the lead versus Morpeko. So this is a pretty solid matchup for us. I'm really happy with this, and they actually decide to swap into Chansey. Gosh, what are you doing? All right. So we're facing off against a Chansey. Now, I thought to myself, you know what? I'm just going to overload on energy. I'm going to bring in Guzzlord. I'm just going to fast move down. Look at the damage that I believe that Zen Headbutt is doing. It's doing nothing. I'm just going to go ahead and just Brutal Swing and Dragon Tail and just overload on energy. Things are going to be perfect. Nothing is going to happen. This is a Chansey. All right. I think some of you already know. It hits me with the Dazzling Gleam, and I'm like, oh my gosh, it has Dazzling Gleam. I completely forgot about that. So now I'm in a situation where I can lose this mid-game matchup. I'm going to have to shield against a Chansey. I'm going to have to undo all the shenanigans that is going on in this mid-game matchup by shielding and then loading up on energy and then counter swapping out in order to have a hope and a prayer. So we come back in with Seismitoad now and we go for Earth Powers, and I am just like, I'm so done. This Chansey just needs to get out of the game. I forgot it had Dazzling Gleam. They come in with Licky Licky now, so we're just going to go straight Icy Winds. At this point, I mean, we can still win, obviously, but I'm just going to keep debuffing them. I'm going to debuff them so much. They're going to win. The rollouts are going to start healing me. Like, I'm just going to throw Icy Wind after Icy Wind after Icy Wind. I'm just going to keep throwing it. You're going to keep getting Icy Winds here as they now go for the charge move. And double debuffed Licky Licky can still do a good amount of damage with Shadow Ball there. I was kind of surprised at how much that actually did. So here comes another one. And I have to keep my shield, unfortunately, so this is thankfully just a body slam that doesn't knock us out. But they swap out into Chansey, and I throw the Icy Wind here, and I thought, I should have just kept all that energy, because clearly I can come in with Empoleon. So I'm just going to come in with Empoleon and just fully fast move down. We undid the whatever that mid game was by having this matchup. Now clearly earlier I could have just brought in Empoleon and that would have been significantly better, right? But I decided to bring in the Guzzlord for the lulz, and it kind of backfired. So we're gonna go for Hydro Cannons here. You know, the Morpeko is so frail that any move against it is gonna hurt, and it does have a charge move, so we have to shield, obviously, as the Aura Wheel is gonna hurt. It is going to be doing that boom damage, but we have another Hydro Cannon ready to go, and this is all I care about, is just getting this next Hydro Cannon because I still have Guzzlord and Seismitoad in the back. So we swap into Guzzlord. They counter swap right away into Licky Licky as I throw the Sludge Bomb. So they knew I was going to go for the back-to-back, and now we go for the farm down. So now we're gonna go for Sludge Bomb. At this point, I'm like, please, just go away. Anyone who's using XL Chansey in the Great League, just go back to the queue. It's such an interesting Pokemon that you never want to face off against. But yeah, good battle to my opponent. Wild mid-game matchup there with the Dazzling Gleam, and yeah. interesting game. So overall, this team was really fun and really strong to use. I will recommend that you guys give it a try, especially since the Seismitoad with the new update, having Mudshot, boosted Earth Power, and now access to Icy Wind is just really great. I think Guzzlord, viability is going up because of the nerf to Charm and the less use of Wigglytuff that we're going to be seeing, and the more increase in use of that Kanto Ninetales that is so amazing in the meta. So Guzzlord has a real opportunity there, and then obviously Empoleon is doing Empoleon things. So I hope you guys enjoyed today's video, and like always, thank you for watching. I'll see you in the next one.